old. Age shall not weary them, nor the years condemn. At the going down of the sun and in the morning, we will remember them.
Now, if that doesn't bring a tear to your eye or goosebumps to your skin, you don't have a soul. Every time I hear that last post, I just think of all those men and women that sacrificed so much and had so much in front of them to conquer and to get over, to give us the fortunate life we all live. Roscoe? Who are we? Liz?
Just three of us.
Brett, Liz and Kath. Brett and the two hotties are on their tinny out there doing an ANZAC Day Zoom cast.
So we've had coffee and ANZAC biscuits and a nip of rum to toast Rodney.
Oh yeah, good on you.
Wasn't that nice? Yeah.
That is nice.
How you, Joe?
Yeah, good, Kath.
Yeah, good. No, we thought that we'd come and have a look, but it's just, no, those waves are too big. We won't be able to get in.
No, okay, sure.
See you later.
All right, that's good. I'll
Bye.
send you the
Have a
vid.
good day. Looks gorgeous.
See ya. Well, morning everyone. How are we on ANZAC Day? How good was that the last post? Every time I hear that song or that piece, I can't help but think, especially World War One stuff, just the men in the trenches and what they had to do. A lot of movies have been out to give you a really good idea of what it must be like. Saving Private Ryan's another one, and it really makes me think of the sacrifices that those people made and how difficult it must have been and how long it went for. These years went for 5 and 6 years. So I suppose the sacrifices that they all made to allow us to live the free, lovely lives that we all live. At the moment we think it's all a bit tough and a bit indignant that these things are happening to us, but when we put it in perspective and compare it to our fathers, grandfathers and past people, it really makes us, look a bit lame. And I just use them for inspiration, basically, to think that if I'm doing it tough, I think how hard they did it all. So it really does bring you back to earth and just get you to toughen up a bit and kick on and push on, because those guys were the real heroes. And use them as inspiration, that's all I'm saying. It's a good thing to do. And I certainly do love hearing that. And how good are those Spitfires and that Mustang that flew past? What a beautiful sound. There's some great sounds in life, but the sound of a Merlin engine, at 200 feet buzzing past, there's just nothing like it. So that was pretty awesome. I reckon the video should just stop it here. That's enough done for the day. That was so good. Anyway, my grandfather, Wally Rice, he served in World War II up in Bougainville. He joined the Australian Army, then got into the Marine Transport Services, learned how to drive barges here in Cuchimudlo and Moreton Bay, headed up north to Cairns and then off to Bougainville. And in his later years, he decided he wanted to put all this information down, so he wrote all the stories. He gathered all the stories from the other guys in his regiment, and he put a book together. And this is the book that he wrote. It's called Sailors in Slouch Hats. And I remember when he was doing it, his wife wasn't too happy about it, so he had to do it clandestine style in the dark and try and get this whole thing up and running. But he did, he managed to, he got a production, he got a run, a couple hundred books, and he got them all passed out through the RSLs and through the libraries, and we all obviously got given one. It's a great read. There's photos in here of him, and here's a little read. I'll just read on the back what it says here about this book. It says, "This story of the men of the 42nd Australian Landing Craft Company is a stirring and fitting tribute to the magnificent soldiers who risked and often gave their lives in Operation Porton in 1945. In the true tradition of the ANZACs, these are stories of ordinary men who did extraordinary things. Operating in very real dangers of battle, the men of the 42nd Australian Landing Craft faced unprecedented seas and sustained enemy fire to land, support and then evacuate the soldiers of the company of the 3151 Battalion. These stories are told with a frankness and affection in a way that only a soldier can. Sailors in Slouch Hat is a superb collection of personal experiences of mateship, ingenuity, larrikinism and bravery. We are fortunate to have this record of some of our heroes. Lieutenant General P.J. Cosgrove, Chief of the Army. So that was his little spiel on it. There's a photo in here. I'll show it to you. I'll film it later and show it. There's a photo of Wally Rice in here and a bunch of great other photos that go throughout the book. And there's a poem. He used to love writing poems and used to play harmonica and ukulele and stuff like that. And there's a great poem in here that I'll read to you. It's called Sacred Earth. I often see them by the jungle track, these mounds of dark brown earth and rotting leaves, the last long resting place of those who fell. And sometimes on the windswept sandy beach, above the marks of tide, these mounds appear. And as I pass, I know that this is sacred ground. For here the fallen heroes lie at rest, and we who grasped the torch before they fell will soon avenge the death of those who lie so peaceful here. And as I stand a while in deep respect, I wonder if they hear the tramping feet, the thunder of the guns that roar above their heads. For we who carry on the fight have not forgotten them, the lads who were our mates, now sleeping neath these mounds of sacred earth. Sergeant Wally Rice, Bougainville, 1945. Anyway, that's just a little story that just is in my family and pertains to, I suppose, ANZAC Day. I thought I'd just share that with you. So I hope you enjoyed it and have a great ANZAC Day. Thanks. Here's a photo of Keith Carmody, which is Joe's dad and June's husband. He was too young to get into the war, so he bumped his age up and started in the Air Force and then decided to get out of the Air Force because the war was going to be over before he started finishing his training. So he got out, got into the army, and then he went up into Asia, and then he became a captain with the Black Watch. He got accepted to the Black Watch, and served in Singapore and Burma during World War II.
Good afternoon, everyone. It's a solemn day today. It's a sad day for all those returned soldiers and sailors and airmen, all the returned fellows. Must have been a terrible time for them during the war. And unfortunately, a lot of them don't really recover when they come home because it's never quite the same. But we've got nothing to complain about here except for this jolly old virus that we've got. We've got a good lifestyle. It's a lovely country to be in. And I've got no complaints. No complaints whatsoever, except my body's letting me down. But that's nothing to worry about. It's nothing in comparison to everybody else. So I hope everyone has a good day, a quiet day of thoughtfulness about the returned servicemen. And I hope you all have a good afternoon. No jokes today. Thank you, everyone.